Me and me to get together, but we about to get to it. Let's go. There we go. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Working Man Podcast. Yes, indeed. Hope y'all can hear those sound effects. I'm trying a new setup today because, I'm kind of in between setups here. So I'm on a minimal kind of thing going here, but I got everything run through an interface on my computer. But in any case, there was something new that I found today in this whole brouhaha of the Coach Greg Adams and Andrew Wilson debate. And I've covered this a lot over the past, week or so. A lot of other content creators have as well. But Rollo Tomassi came out, I think, over the weekend, I believe Sunday, matter of fact, and he actually revealed the winner of this debate. And I want to cover that personally. But before I do, let me make sure that everyone knows how to contribute to the channel. All right, of course, I got the link pinned at the top of the chat, the Ko-Fi. Of course, you can also super chat, and you can hit the Cashapp, $ the working man, $, Mr. Normie. Or, of course, you can join my locals. Everything's in the description box, all right? But other than that, because this reaction is going to be long, and I didn't want to just put it in a really long, video because this is going to be a long reaction. So I decided to just go live, and maybe I can cut it up later for anybody that wants to see the short version of it. But in any case, I covered this debate or different angles of it, from the wife getting insulted to what she said in response to all this, to what Coach Greg Adams said about her, and what she said some years back. It's a lot of stuff I covered. And Tree 411 actually also covered this a long time ago, which I talked about that before. But check this out. Before I get into the reaction, the Digital Social Hour podcast has posted this to their channel finally, but they got a more revised version of it because the live version shows all the before scenes where they were like getting the stream keys and all that kind of stuff. So I want you to check this out real quick. Now, this is on the Digital Social Hour, all right, the podcast by Sean Kelly. Now, here's another thing. I don't know how, and no disrespect to Sean Kelly, but I don't know how he has 1.17 million subscribers. And a lot of his stuff, maybe because he used to go live a lot, or maybe because just a lot of people watch his stuff. But I mean, I know my numbers don't do anything justice, but he has like 121, 87, 76, 616. Now, I have these same kind of numbers on my videos, and I got, a little over 4,000 subscribers. He has 1.7 million. I don't see how he has this many. But any case, he posted the debate 13 hours ago. And this is a more revised version, a more clean version than what Andrew and CGA posted to their channels when they went live days ago. Okay, so just put that out there. It's on his page now for other people that want to react to it or have any other questions about it. There you go. Okay, now, again, Mr. Rollo Tomassi, he responded to he finally gave the answer on who won this debate. But also, I got to say one more thing before I get into this reaction. There were a lot of people that came in my comment section of the last 2 or 3 videos that I did, calling me, say I was glazing CGA. They said I was, I was D-riding and, I was coping hard. Let's go to some of the comments that I got on my video, shall we? Because, here we go, right? Let's go. Now, shout out Digital Social Hour. They actually did post to my video, which means I guess my video made its rounds, even though it only had 100. It only had, 800 some views. Okay, again, not a lot for a small channel like me. It's a lot, but for other channels that would be, horrible numbers, right? Hold on, let me see something real quick. But enemy spotted. Here we go, enemy spotted. But let's see here. CGA got absolutely wiped out in debate. You were wild for this take. And this one I said he got set up because certain factors I think maybe it was possible, right? But maybe it wasn't. I don't know. That was just my hot take at the beginning. Sue me if you will. Let's see. I like Coach Greg Adams before this, but made him seem like a sassy ass passive aggressive chick. Very disappointing. This was pure cope and classic black victimhood. Stop feeding the stigma, brother. The only consistency held by Adams was the ability to interrupt every single sentence. If you want to be a better man, take the L and learn from it. Do better. Andrew destroyed this guy. What a simp. Cope and seethe. Stop coping. He just has a 70 IQ. Everybody was dunking on me about this video. Andrew destroyed him. Also, Andrew was live as well. Again, that was my fault. I didn't realize that at the time that Andrew went live because all I saw was CJ went live because I don't also follow the Crucible. So, that's my fault. So, I'll take the L for that. I'll take the L for that. Ain't no fucking way. They said, "Do stop coping." Saying this was setup was cope. This was an easy W for Andrew. CJ is a talker, not a debater. He starts with the insults at home. And see, again, more and more and more video. All this stuff, man, they were in my comment section going hard. Pause. Let me find some more comments real quick before I get into the actual reaction. Let's see here. Can I find some more? Let's see here. Let's go back. Sorry for the analogy. CJ did a recent about Rissa Wilson. It was shocking, hilarious. Let's see here. Andrew Wilson admitted to taking his wife's money in many debates. I think that's probably satire. Maybe he's doing that. Anyone thinking Greg won the debate just needs to stay in a basement. Where is it? In a basement. Ain't no fucking way. Let's go. Shout out to XL Pro Services, CGA, for the win. There we go. Sounds like you'll just accept whatever comes down the line, no matter if it's good for us as a whole or not, because what can we do about it, right? Again, everybody was in the comment section talking mad shit, okay? If Andrew's black, he would have won this race thing, blah, blah. Again, man, everybody was in here. The first video was the worst, though. The first video, everybody was talking about me, man. Bad. I was like, wow. I couldn't believe it. But in any case, let's move on to the video in question, because that's what everybody y'all came here to see, right? That's what everybody. And by the way, feel free to hit the poll. All right, I got a poll up. Who do you think won the debate, Andrew Wilson or Coach Greg Adams? Either side doesn't matter. Just put your vote in, please. And again, if you want to super chat, please super chat or Cash App, Ko-Fi. Hit the link for the locals. All that good stuff is all down in the comment section. But in any case. Now let's get to the video in question and get y'all in and get y'all out of here. Rollo Tomassi. There was a section, a part of his live stream, I think it's like a 2 or 3 hour live stream, where he actually directly addresses the debate between Andrew Wilson and Coach Greg Adams. All right. So let's talk about it real quick, or let's let him talk about it rather, and see what y'all got to say. Of course, this is on YouTube. I'll leave links to all the stuff in the description box after the live stream is over. So for all of you, stop pausing the video so much, ninjas. For all of you, you talk too much, ninjas, hit the description box after this live stream, or you can just go watch this shit yourself if you think I'm talking too goddamn much, all right? But other than that, let's get started with the reaction. Put my fair use banner up as I always do. Bam. Fair use, you know how I do. Let me make it bam, bam, bam. And we're going to let him talk. Let's go, Rollo.
Yeah, so I was talking to this guy, and I'm like, oh, how did you hear about me? He's like, well, I was going on my first divorce. I was like, oh, God. Yeah, it was interesting.
We should just link it in his Instagrams and everything.
Yeah. Viking Dad says he will pull a Steven Crowder. He'll never acknowledge you or others. Of course he won't. Yeah. Although Crowder does acknowledge Myron Fresh. He's he's had Myron on quite a few times. He's never had me on, but whatever. If Myron's on, that's good. I'm okay with that because Myron's basically like mouthing my stuff anyway. So, but yeah. So that's the Akash story. I've got some other things I wanted to get into, but before I do, I need to cover a few things that people have been like sort of hitting me up to talk about. And one of those is the debate between Andrew Wilson and CGA, Coach Greg Adams. And I tried to do my best in passing on a couple of episodes ago. And the thing is I think people are either on Team Andrew or they're on Team CGA, right? And I've been looking at I watched the entirety of the quote unquote debate on Sean Kelly's channel. And the debate was, you're correct. The debate was red meat. And because every debate is red meat right now. And I mentioned this on the interview with when Mike was interviewing, me and Mike were interviewing Andrew Wilson, is that debate is dead right now. And there's
now, by the way, he is going to get actually to his actual opinion about CGA and Andrew Wilson. And by the way, he's also going to reveal why he has, I guess, a sort of a beef with CGA. But before he does, he's going to get into, I guess, the history of debates and how debates have kind of degraded over the years and things like that, which is cool. Don't mind. But that's what's going to happen. He's going to start going to talking about the debates, which the same thing Andrew Wilson did when they had their little West Coast Avengers thing going on like a week ago. He's going to start talking about debates, and then he's going to get into who won the debate. And yeah, let's continue.
Like classic debate is dead. So people are asking me, well, who do you think won? Do you think CGA won? Do you think Andrew won? Well, let me explain something to you first. It's like the conversation I had during that show with me and Mike and Andrew was that debate is not debate anymore. It's not classic debate. Classic debate from like Hellenic Greece and the Roman Senate or whatever. Like back in the day, debate was about one thing. Is a phenomenon, is a dynamic, is a principle, is a proposal true, or is it false? That's debate. Not my opponent is an asshole. My opponent is a liar and you shouldn't listen to him. That's not debate. Debate is we have this thing, we have this idea, we have this hypothesis, we have this principle, we have this phenomenon, this scientific method, right? It could be anything, right? We have something that is outside these two people, and one's going to debate for, one's going to debate against. Is this true? Does this exist? Is it true that X, Y?
Now, by the way, during the debate, or I guess the start of the debate, was asked about something along the lines about traditional marriage, right? And Andrew Wilson said, okay, well, we agree on this, but what about this? And then CGA gave his opinion. It did dissolve into, I guess, some ad hominems, whatever you want to call it, on the back end. But, and again, in my opinion, it also wasn't moderated the way it should have been. So that's on Sean Kelly, I believe. But the debate it started out as a debate, but it wasn't moderated well, so it did have a lot of back and forth. People were talking over each other and things like that. I think that's on Sean Kelly. And in that respect, it was the debate was it wasn't what it was supposed to be. Okay, but he's right. Debates have kind of, people think they really know how to debate. People like Andrew Wilson, they think they know how to debate, but do they really? I mean, if you're like the one video I did yesterday when he was calling this woman out her name because she dropped the stepdad fact on him, and then next thing you know, she's a carpet muncher, she's a bitch, she's all this kind of stuff, right? Did Andrew Wilson win that debate? If we go by the metrics of whoever throws the first ad hominem, whoever gets emotional first loses. So in that respect, I mean, did he win?
Yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch.
I don't know, but let's continue.
That's the main point. Or it could be a list of topics, a list of things to debate, right? So especially if you go and you look at like classic debate on the Senate floor of the United States, in the Capitol, or in the House, right? The House of Representatives. They have a certain amount of time that they're allotted to make their case. Somebody makes a rebuttal, then you can say, I will surrender my time to so-and-so. So somebody can actually come in and make a better case than you can, right? There are rules for debate because those rules were based on classic debate. Anybody who has taken debate in college, was on the debate team, understands formal logic, understands that debate was about discussing. You attack the principle, you attack the argument, not the person, the argument. What is the argument? What is the topic? What are we trying to prove is true or is false? That's what it's about. But the thing is now we move into modern debate. Modern debate is my opponent believes this and I believe this. Is this principle good or is it evil? Is it right or is it wrong? It becomes more of a moralism. Okay, you could even.
And I also agree with him too. Are we debating facts or are we debating feelings? A lot of people have talked about that, facts or feeling, things like that. Again, another part of debating that has been, it's not the same what it used to be. Are we debating the fact of this? Is this right or wrong? Is this good or bad? Can this be better or not? Or is it just, well, I think it this way or I feel it should be different because X, Y? Well, that's not the debate. It's one topic. And and Andrew Wilson, I forget, it was Andrew Wilson or Coach Greg Adams said this, that, okay, well, that, again, are we arguing the point here? Are we arguing the fact or we just, saying, well, I think it's this way because that's how I feel? It's, again, but he's going to get to it here in a second. I got to go through this because of, fair use purpose and all this. So I got to let him get the context of his opinion before I actually get to the opinion.
Say, well, maybe that's part of the actual classical debate. You could. That's modern debate. Then there's postmodern debate. Postmodern debate is this. He's a liar. I'm telling you the truth. Vote for me. Don't vote for him. Is he on the good guy's side or is he on the bad guy's side? Is he a lying sack of shit? Is he telling the truth? Let's look and see what his personal history is. Let's see it's attacking the person, and the debate is about the person, not about the subject, not about the topic. And we've lost sight of what debate actually is. I wrote a really great article. It's free, by the way. It's one of my free articles that's on Substack, and it's called "The Death of Debate." I'll put it in the somebody can, or maybe Sammy can grab it off my Substack. It's called "The Death of Debate." And in there, I break down the differences in debate, like the methodologies or modes, I guess, over the years. So if we're going to call something debate, we have to define what the terms of that debate are. So when Andrew Wilson goes on and he's debating a feminist, and he's like, "You lick sniz," which I laughed at, by the way, or he's attacking the character of his debate opponent, that's just back and forth. That's just argument. That's postmodern debate. You're not actually trying to get down to the bottom of whether a principle or a hypothesis or a concept is true or false.
No, he did not. Did Andrew Wilson win that debate?
Nope.
Did Andrew Wilson throw ad hominem some very derogatory ones at that woman?
Yep.
Did Andrew Wilson win that debate? If you ask me,
Nope.
I don't think he did.
You're trying to turn that person into a bad person so nobody will listen to them. And they're trying to do the same thing to you too. Don't get me wrong. And that's how you get like, it's basically it's debate, professional wrestling in the debate realm, right? And we call it debate, but it's not really debate because we're so used to seeing like presidential debates where Trump goes after Hillary and says, lock her up, right? It's all buzzwords. It's all bumper stickers and everything because he's not trying to debate the topics of what's the best policy for the United States, domestic policy, foreign policy, geopolitics, whatever. That's not the debate. The debate is there for the zingers. It's there for Trump to go, yeah, and she's ugly too. She's a feminist. Like that's not debate. You're not getting anywhere with it.
Nope.
No one is smarter. No one has like come to a different conclusion after that.
Nope.
And so when people say, well, who won the debate? Do you think it was Coach Greg Adams or do you think it was Andrew Wilson?
Here is the moment you have all been waiting for.
Nick, you're stupid.
Did Coach Greg Adams win the debate? This is per Rollo Tomassi, one of the grandfathers of the red pill, a man that everyone listens to, right? A man that people like Fresh and Fit, people like maybe Donovan Sharp and other people that they have got their cues, their tactics, their rhetoric from Rollo Tomassi. Huh? So if we're talking about the manosphere proper, as people would say, Rollo Tomassi is one of the, he's one of the OGs of it, right? So we should take his opinion as fact, shouldn't we? So let's listen to who Rollo Tomassi himself says won the debate.
Well, let's look at what they were supposed to be discussing. They were supposed to be discussing, is marriage worth it? Which is really fucking open-ended. Worth what? Worth the investment for a guy? Is it worth it for a guy to get married these days? Is it like, because if that's the case, if that's the principle that they were supposed to be debating on, Coach Greg Adams won because he made the policy, he made the points.
Everyone. Okay, I just want to make sure. That the working man, Mr. Nick Fury, wasn't wrong with what he said. I want to make sure that, all the other videos I did where everybody was talking shit to me and everything in the comment section, that I was coping, that I was glazing, okay, that I was deriding Coach Greg Adams. I want you to come to the comment section of this live stream right now or afterwards, and I want you to say, I'm sorry. I'm going to rewind this one more time because I want y'all to make sure y'all heard him correctly. All right?
Foreign policy, geopolitics, whatever. That's not the debate. The debate is there for the zingers. It's there too. She's a feminist. Well, let's look at what they were supposed to be discussing. They were supposed to be discussing, is marriage worth it? Which is really fucking open-ended. Worth what? Worth the investment for a guy? Is it worth it for a guy to get married these days? Is it like, because if that's the case, if that's the principle that they were supposed to be debating on, Coach Greg Adams won. He made the policy, he made the points that here's what's going on with modern marriage.
Oh, gosh. My stream, here we go. Now let me give myself another round of applause. Because I was right. The argument was talked about, the argument that was made was about marriage. Is it worth it today? And the answer is no. Now, if you was married some years back when it was somehow worth it, or, because the laws are always what they were. But when you're actually able to get a decent woman or things like that, then yeah, maybe it's worth it then. But today, to get married, today in 2025, is it worth it? The answer is no.
Nope.
But let's let him continue because he's going to go further into why Coach Greg Adams was right. And he's even going to use himself as an example.
I'm not against marriage. I'm against the way we do it now. And I would have made the exact same points that CGA would have. I would love for people to have a great marriage. Even Jim Sexton says the same thing. He's a divorce attorney, has been, processed God knows how many divorces, still believes in love, still really wishes the best for people when they get, one of his sons is getting married, I think. is happy to give you a prenup so guys can be a little bit more prepared for that kind of stuff. Now, the reason why people have a ideological problem with Jim Sexton is because he's taking the magic out of marriage by saying you need a prenup, or here's the statistics, or like that guy in the video that I was showing in the beginning there was talking about how statistics don't matter because I'm not going to allow myself to be a statistic. And even with that attitude, you might be right. But the fact of the matter is there's a reason why we have generalities, because they're true, because the statistics are there. So from that perspective, Coach Greg Adams won the debate in the first, 10 minutes, 15.
Can somebody please, somebody got to give me some goddamn shots. But Coach Greg Adams won the debate. Again, my comment section, my video was flooded with people dunking on me. All right? Was I right? Was CGA right? Yes, he was. The point was made in the first 10 minutes. So says Rollo Tomassi. Let me run that back one more time for y'all. Huh?
That kind of stuff. Now, the reason why people have a ideological problem with Jim Sexton is because he's taking the magic out of marriage by saying you need a prenup, or here's the statistics, or like that guy in the video that I was showing in the beginning there was talking about how statistics don't matter because I'm not going to allow myself to be a statistic. And even with that attitude, you might be right. But the fact of the matter is there's a reason why we have generalities, because they're true, because the statistics are there. So from that perspective, Coach Greg Adams won the debate in the first, 10 minutes, 15 minutes of it, because he just said, here's what's going on. It's not worth it. Show me why you would think it was worth it. Now, Andrew, of course, slips over into postmodern debate, which is, well, I have a solution. Here's what we should do. Blah, 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 blah. Well, that's not the point of you're debating one topic. If it's classic debate, the topic is it worth it? Well, I have a solution here. That's not I'm sure you do. And it might be, I'll be happy to listen to it, but that's not the goal of that debate. That it was about, is marriage worth it? And in the real world, where CGA was founding pulling stats and from his understanding, definitely understood that. Now,
even Rollo Tomassi just said in this revelation that if he was in the debate, that he would have made the exact same points that CGA made. Okay? So, is marriage worth it today? No, it is not. Andrew Wilson said, well, if we do it an ecclesiastical marriage, and now, of course, CJ is using this as complete satire in all of his live streams. But he says, well, if you do it this way, it will work. Again, if ifs were fifths, right? Again, if we were in that type of society where we have more morals and dignity, things of that nature, if people actually cared about both sides, we had reciprocity in marriage, things like that, then it would work perfectly. Unfortunately, we are not in that society. We're not in that realm. We're not in that multiverse anymore, in that reality. CGA was right. Andrew Wilson, if we're going off of the points of the debate, he was wrong. He lost the debate. Now, if you want to get into the weeds about who drew first blood on the ad hominems and the insults and all that stuff, well, Andrew Wilson, you know what? Keep on going, Mr. Rational Male.
You got Andrew talking about how we need to have the church-based. I've said this before. It's a covenant-based marriage versus a state-based marriage. I've debated this myself with Dr. Everett Piper back in 2018, 2019. I took the opposite. I took the role of CGA back then, right? And I'm married. I have a great marriage, but I'm taking the opposite because I'm saying, well, as we do it now in the United States, in the present state of marriage, this is all downside risk for guys. Until you can show me what the upside is, then no, it's not worth it. It really isn't.
Now, mind you, this is a married man telling you today that marriage is not worth it. By the way, the poll here, 67% Coach Greg Adams, 33% Andrew Wilson. If you're an Andrew Wilson fan, that's fine. Feel free to come into the chat room and let me know why you think this is still BS. If you're listening to this man, Mr. Rollo Tomassi, the originator of the book, The Rational Male, he's been married for maybe a couple of decades now. So if he's telling you that even he thinks that marriage isn't worth it today in 2025 of November, right? Should we not listen to him now as well? One of the grandfathers of the red pill? He's laying it out even better than the two guys that were on the debate, right? So again, I ask you, who lost the debate? Continue, sir.
It's worth it in my case because I got married in 1996, and
By the way, as we know, the example doesn't make the rule, it proves the rule. So he's even admitting it that, my marriage he's going to explain that my marriage goes good because of XYZ. So he even is going to admit that my marriage is one of, is not as a few that works well, but it also works well because of this, that I'm not a normie in this marriage, right? So even he's going to admit that. And even with the RP awareness that he has, he admits that his marriage can still go bad. But because he is aware of certain things, he knows how to try to keep on track the best he can. I'm sure he has problems with his marriage that he doesn't tell anybody about. But he's been married since 96. That's a long time. Congratulations to him. But like he said, today marriage, not good.
My wife and I am who I am. Maybe I forced it to work. Maybe it's because I have red pill. Here's my solution. Be red pill aware. You want to improve your chances of having a good, successful marriage? Like, you can say the Catholics or the Orthodoxy should be, the ones regulating the marriage or being the arbiters of that marriage. I'm going to say this, that from my perspective, the red pill needs to be there. You need to have some awareness. You need to understand your nature and your woman's nature. As I keep saying over and over and over again, is like I attribute a great the lion's share of the success of my marriage to me being red pill, to me having the awareness of what my wife's nature is and what my nature is, and how we both come together and have a successful family. And my daughter is married now. I'm a fucking glowing example of everything that the tradcons want to have. Only I'm not Orthodox. I'm not Catholic. My mom was. I am not Catholic.
He's not ecclesiastical. Where you look at that?
I hate to break it to you. I don't know what I am, honestly. And if you want me to elaborate on that more, it's easier if you just simply go buy my 4th book and read the last chapter of that book. I explain why I'm what my faith actually is. Easier for you to do that. I spent 3 years writing that book. Give me a reach around at least. I could go.
All these guys got books. CGA got books, and Rollo got books. No, I should write a book, say how to be a normie and survive. I think people would read that. Don't you think? Maybe.
Don't make me hold your hand through this whole thing. But yeah, so if I'm going to say, well, who won? Do you think or people are accusing me of saying, well, you guys didn't invite CGA onto the Avengers show, but we had the Avengers show on the book like weeks before I even knew that Andrew and CGA were even going to be doing a debate. So whatever.
And let's be clear. I don't think that he would have invited CGA on the panel anyway. I mean, that would be like a historic moment to be CGA to be on the same panel with Rollo Tomassi. That would have been epic, and I don't think that would have happened. But I mean, we can all wish, right? So I mean, he's explaining that away. Well, I would have invited them. Blah. You probably wouldn't have invited them. We got Andrew Wilson on there. We got Myron on there, which the whole thing with Myron and CGA now seems kind of funny now because of the lane Myron's decided to go into. I mean, who really cares? But all of them together, Rollo, Mike Sartain guy, and all these other people on here that are part of the overall manosphere, because CJ doesn't even identify with that no more. And for he has his reason, he has his reason, just like a lot of people do, to not associate with the standard red pill, right? So there's that. But yeah, maybe he would have invited him. I don't know.
And I don't have anything against CGA. I had something against the fact that he was working with Anthony Johnson for God knows how long. But I probably agree with him on like probably 90% of the shit he talks about. So there you have it. But I think from a classical debate perspective, CGA wins that debate. Andrew, when he gets into debates, is like, I'm going to attack the character. He just wants to get to the point where he's going to, proselytize for religion. And then I also have to I looked this up later. I have to take Andrew to task on the idea that the Orthodox Christianity should be the arbiters of marriage when it comes to like having a religion be the one that actually decides who gets married and who gets divorced and who can and who can't, right? Because the principle was that Orthodoxy has a low divorce rate and a low or a higher marriage rate or something like that. And I looked up the stats here, and the religion that has the highest marriage rate and the lowest divorce rate is actually Hinduism. Huh. 60% marriage rate and a 5% divorce rate in Hinduism. So
Hinduism, is that in India? I think it is. And India has their own way of doing things when it comes to marriage and the female persuasion and things like that. So they have a high marriage rate, but I think they might be kind of chained into their marriage too as well. So there's that.
If we're going to say that a church should be like the church with the best track record for marriage to divorce ratio, I don't know what you guys are doing, Hindus, but you guys win. So if that's the basis of like the solution, then we got to all convert to Hinduism. You got to maybe Akash is onto something. Maybe the Indians are right, But see, do I think that that's actually a solution? No, I don't. But again, attacking it on principle, attacking it on stats, right? That's why we have things like logical fallacies, right? Slippery slope, straw man, presuming the point, ad hom. Everybody knows what an ad hom. You're just doing ad hom. Well, that's the only, can you name any other logical fallacy besides straw man, ad hom, and presuming the point was one of them too. I can't remember. There's a bunch of other ones. Logical fallacies exist. You know why they exist? Because they were based on classical debate, not on I'm going to fuck up my opponent. So when I foolishly decided that I wanted to debate Alex from Playing with Fire, I knew what I was getting into. Because I knew it was just like 3 hours of, you're a liar. Tell everybody you're a liar. That's all it was. I'm like, I told Mike, because Mike really wanted to set up this debate. It was on about over a year ago now, on Twitter Spaces. And yeah, all it was, people were bored. They showed up because they thought we were going to actually be debating topics and principles. And is this principle let's see, hypergamy. Is hypergamy a thing or is it not a thing? Let's discuss. No. You're a liar. Remember when you lied about me? Yeah.
Now, this segment is almost over, but he's talking about debates that he went into and further reinforcing the point of how Andrew Wilson and other people go into this ad hominem when they feel like they're losing the debate, or they go into there pretty much trying to strong arm their opponent into where the audience thinks that Andrew really won, but really what he did was he just kind of bullied the person. He does it all the time on the Whatever podcast with these females on there. He just starts spitting out a bunch of facts, and then when they start talking dumb, then he can go in on them with ad hominems and all that stuff because they're already kind of talking ignorant at that point. But when he's facing a male in an argument like CGA that doesn't back down, they actually have good points, then it's like, okay, well, now he's dumb, now you sound ignorant and all this kind of stuff. And then CGA comes back and says, well, your wife has a high body count. Then boom, it's out of the water at that point, right?
Spurred out the whole time. Okay, that's not a debate. It's an inquisition. That's not a debate because I'm an asshole. I'll be happy to tell you I'm an asshole, and I'll be the first one to, yeah, okay, but comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. That's me, right? But the thing is, he was calling me a liar over was actual principles that I took him to task on 4 years. That's how long he hung out for 4 years earlier, right? But that wasn't a debate. Jasmine Jafar was in on that too. And she was waiting. She never got to say word one because Alex was just yap, 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 yap the whole time. but that's not a debate. And so when people go and you see people like yelling at each other and they're calling, you lick sniz, and by the way, I'm referring to this viral clip that's been going around with Andrew was debating some feminist on whatever podcast. And
by the way, I cover that too on my channel. Here we go. Check this out. See, where is it? Here we go. You're too effing stupid. I covered that 3 days ago. He snapped on this woman because they got to the end of the debate. And what happened was he said that I can't convince you of my worldview because you're just too stupid. Andrew Wilson said that to her at that moment. I don't know if they already had traded insults before then, but I picked it up at the end where he just says, you're too effing stupid. And at that point, she says, you know what I think? I think your stepdad is taking care of one with 3 kids. And then he goes in on her talking about, oh, you lick this, you're a carpet muncher and XYZ. And yeah. Did he win that debate?
Brought up the fact that that Andrew married Rachel, who is a single mother, and about their sexual history and their past and everything else. And as you know, I have said, Andrew meets the definition of a cuckold. But whether that's good, I'm not saying it's good or that's bad. I'm just saying that's the definition. So when she starts bringing it, but see, that's not in my way of thinking, my critical thinking capacity. That's not me trying to attack his character. He can tell you all about that if he wants to. But that's meets the definition of it, right? The concept of it, true or false. Same thing with this chick, but then so this chick starts bringing up all his past and everything. He interprets it as a personal attack. And sorry, Andrew, you got emotional. First one to get emotional loses when the debate is.
Oh boy, let me give myself another round of applause. Yes. Whoever gets emotional first loses. This is a standard debate rule, right? I mean, I'm not a debater and I know that. Whoever gets emotional first loses the debate. One more time.
When she starts bringing it, but see, that's not in my way of thinking, my critical thinking capacity. That's not me trying to attack his character. He can tell you all about that if he wants to. But that's meets the definition of it, right? The concept of it, true or false. Same thing with this chick, but then so this chick starts bringing up all his past and everything. He interprets it as a personal attack. And sorry, Andrew, you got emotional. First one to get emotional loses when the debate is about attacking the other person. I know because I've done it myself several times. Mea culpa. And I remember when I was on with Pat Campbell, that's where I got that from. Pat Campbell said this to me. He says the first one to get emotional loses. And so that's when you get like, you lick schniz, you're a lesbian. How dare you tell me what, I'm good or bad. The reason why you have that response is because the fundamental premise of the debate is, are you an asshole or are you not? Or am I who's the asshole here? Like, yeah, you're an asshole. No, you're an asshole. Right. You lick schniz. You're a cuckold. It might make for some great red meat rage bait for, whatever podcast, but nothing gets done about it. No one is smarter as a result of that. Now, if we were going to debate whether Amuse Mastery works or whether the Alpha idea principle is actually a thing, or is hypergamy this ovulatory shift, we can go and debate those things all day long. And I'm fucking ready to go. Let's fucking go. Give me a list of topics that you want to talk about, and I'm fucking right there. But if you want to say, Rollo, you're a bad man, you're lying about me. Well, why would I want to involve myself in that?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of that segment. And as you can see, Rollo Tomassi, one of the OGs of the RP space, says that Andrew Wilson lost, Greg Adams won. Yes.
Enemy spotted.
The enemy being Andrew Wilson lost the debate. I was right. Y'all was wrong. So again, in the comment section of my videos and in this live stream, you feel free to say, you know what, Nick Fury, I was sorry. I thought you was coping. I thought you was, glazing CGA because you listen to him. And I've been listening to CGA since he was doing videos on his kitchen table with the Black Yeti. Okay, so I've been listening to CGA for a long time. I've listened to Rollo Tomassi. I've seen Andrew Wilson several times on the Whatever podcast. Do I think he's a good debater? I mean, against freaking, these airheaded women, of course he is. But against another man, not so much. Okay? He's a great debater against people that's debating their opinion, but not actually debating the facts. Okay? And that's what he does on the Whatever podcast all the time. Thank you, Rollo Tomassi, for vindicating my productions on YouTube. I appreciate that. All right? And so I hope that all of you enjoyed this. We're all there watching. Y'all didn't super chat, but it's okay. Let me close the poll out. We got 78% Coach Gray Adams. We got 22% Andrew Wilson. Of course, again, I was right as I always am. But once again, thank you all for attending another episode of the Working Man Podcast. I am your host, Nicholas J. Fury. Again, I will leave links to all the stuff in the description box, and I'll try to cut a shorter video for this for, later on for those who want to watch it. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, I say this as I close of my videos all the time because it's true. Reality checks are free. And I will see you next time.